guys, what's good? It's I, Wini, your favorite British Locs YouTuber. Welcome back to my channel. If you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please make sure that you do so now, and also don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you're notified every single time that I upload. Now, I've had my locks for over 10 years now, and while I love my locks a lot, like I love my locks oh so much, there are some annoying things about having locks that I feel people don't really talk about. So in this video, I'm gonna share with you 3 annoying things about having locks. Before I get into it, these 3 things, for the most part, they can be prevented to some extent or heavily reduced if you try. Now, the first point I want to touch up on is lint and dust. Now, lint and dust in your locks is hell of annoying. I personally think that once you have locks, it's pretty much unavoidable. However, there are ways and means that you can heavily reduce lint and dust from entering your locks. So for those of you that are not familiar with lint and dust I feel like is kind of self-explanatory. You know, there's dust sometimes all around us, maybe in your house if you haven't been cleaning, for example. Maybe if you've been out and about in certain places and there's just dust out and about. Maybe you're somewhere where it's quite humid, so a lot of like fluff and stuff is like floating around. Lint as well can come from a variety of places. Over here in the UK, when you're on the buses or you're on the trains, sometimes the seats are made from certain fabric that can easily, especially if you've got long hair like myself, it can easily get caught into your locks. Also, during the winter season, when you're wearing like scarves and woolly hats and certain jumpers, the material on your clothing can also get caught into your hair, your locks. So for the most part, the best way that one can avoid or try to heavily reduce anyway lint and dust from entering your hair is simply by keeping your hair wrapped up for as much as you possibly can. There are a lot of people, for example, there are quite a few Rastafarians that tend to have their locks wrapped up all the time. And obviously if you have your hair wrapped up all the time, then all the dust and the lint that's, you know, in your environment and all of that is going to have a pretty hard time from being able to enter and penetrate your locks. However, just because you may have your locks wrapped up all the time doesn't necessarily mean that you'll completely avoid lint and dust from entering. What I found is when I've spoken to people that tend to have their locks wrapped up quite a bit, they often tell me that they do have lint in their hair, but it's very, very minute. Another way that you can also avoid lint, for example, from getting into your hair is being mindful about the kind of fabrics that you wear, especially during the cold season, if you do experience cold season wherever you live. So for example, those of us that like we will be wearing like woolly hats and like woolly jumpers that are like really fluffy and all of that, you might want to be mindful and wear a different type of fabric jumper, or not wear the woolly hat. Or if you do wear a woolly hat, maybe use a head tie on your head, a satin or silk head tie, and then put your hat on top. And those are just a few ways that you can potentially avoid, just potentially avoid it from happening. Also, I am aware that some of you are keen on brushing locks. I think I will do a separate video on that altogether. But if your locks have matured, so I would say if they're about 2 years old, over 2 years old, what you can do is when you are out and about, and maybe if you feel like you've been in a place where there's been a lot of like flowers or fluff floating about, when you get home, you can just use a very soft bristled brush and just very gently brush your locks and hope that you can basically remove the lint or the dust that's on the surface of your lock. Another annoying thing about having locks is build-up. Now, we all know that build-up is caused in your locks if you're using, for example, too much products in your locks, or you're using very heavy products in your locks. Or, for example, if when you're washing your hair with the shampoo, for example, you're not washing the shampoo out of your hair thoroughly, and so some of the residue of the shampoo remains in your hair. And then what you start to notice is you start to see like white kind of blotches in your locks. It looks disgusting. Like, I've previously had to deal with that, especially with the locks at the back of my head. Now, removing buildup can be relatively easy depending on how much there is. A lot of people look into doing apple cider vinegar soaks or rinses. I have done that in the past. It's been a very long time since I've actually done that as of recent though. But when you use apple cider vinegar, you use a little bit of baking soda or baking powder, and if you want, you can add a little bit of lime or lemon, and you allow your locks to soak in it from anywhere between 15 minutes to 30 minutes. It does actually help in regards to removing buildup. Some people also look into using certain shampoos. I believe there's a Garnier one that people mention. I've never used that before. Before, I used to use Osmo Detoxified shampoo, which I found was very helpful as well. It's a massive, well, the one I used to use was a massive black bottle. I will find a picture and just place it right here as well. And it can also be found via Amazon. I will put a link to that if it's not in my Amazon shop list already. I think it actually is. And that's actually a very great way to basically help to remove your buildup. But alternatively, the most easiest way to avoid buildup is to simply make sure that you're using very light products that are very light in consistency. You're not bombarding your hair and your locks with a lot of products. And when you're washing it, make sure you are thoroughly washing out all of the shampoo's residue. My last but not least point is having a sensitive scalp when you have locks. Now, this can be exceptionally annoying to the point where if you've allowed your hair to grow out from the roots for a little while and then you then get a retwist, your scalp can become so itchy simply by the fact that you have had a fresh retwist after a long time, to the point where sometimes when doing particular hairstyles such as updos, as soon as you have it up and it's been about 3 hours, your scalp completely starts to itch and feel irritated. Now, in regards to this, honestly, I'm not too sure if I have managed to find a resolution. I do find that doing styles like rope twists does not irritate my scalp as much, but when I have updos, I can only keep my updos up from maximum of about 2 weeks, compared to rope twists, which this I've kept in for almost 4 weeks at the time of filming. What I can suggest is, I know it's easier said than done, try not to scratch your scalp too much. Find things that work well for you in regards to itchy scalp. Like, some people swear by using tea tree oil. However, I found that using solely tea tree oil irritates my scalp. So you will just have to play around and find out basically what works well for you. If there are certain hairstyles that, for example, trigger you, you may want to just avoid it altogether. I think it really is down to the individual. You will basically, unfortunately, have to go through it in order to figure out what works well and what doesn't work well for you. Anyway, I hope that you found this video interesting. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. Like, share, comment. You guys know I like to, you know, discuss with you in the comment section below. If you do have any look video suggestions for me as well, just leave it in the comment section below this video. However, until my next video, mwah, take care, be good. Thanks for watching.